Hello, Scream Demons, and welcome to the Screams from the Basement podcast.
This is the scariest horror podcast on this side of the Black Lagoon. Screams from the Basement discusses the best double features the genre has to offer.
We also interview the industry's finest that make our screams become nightmares. I am one of your creepy co-hosts. I am Casey.
And I'm Sam the Damned. And let's get screaming.
Let's get screaming as we are talking on this double feature, elevator horror on this episode of the Screams from the Basement podcast, as we're talking about 1983's Dutch horror classic, The Lift, and 2010's M. Night Shyamalan produced Devil.
Yeah. This is a fun episode. We are going to disagree on many things.
And we're gonna agree. We're gonna agree a lot more than we disagree on this.
Yeah, we might. Yeah.
Getting into this, we're talking two movies that take place on elevators, or the plot revolves completely around elevators.
Yeah.
Which surprisingly, there are a lot of horror movies that revolve around elevators.
Well, and I was thinking about this too. Like, elevators in general are just kind of, I mean, they're so prolific in so many. Like, I think of a lot of elevator scenes, even from like something like Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Like, the elevator scene in that is a standout. Like, The Shining has the elevator with the blood pouring out of it, and like elevators.
Dawn of the Dead has one of the most iconic scenes from that movie. It takes place in the elevator.
Yeah. And you have stuff like, I mean, even like the 90s Mission Impossible, where Emilio Estevez gets just annihilated by an elevator, and the opening of Speed is set on an elevator. Elevators are terrifying. And there's surprisingly a lot of elevator horror, but I'm actually even more surprised there's not more of it, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, because they are such a part of everyday life.
Yeah.
We don't even think about it many times. I mean, I think the pop culture wise, what do you think the scariest thing people associate with elevators is? Is it Tower of Terror?
Maybe.
So I'll start off with that. Okay, so I went to Disney on our honeymoon. And so I told Kayla on our honeymoon, I don't do rides. I don't do I like theme parks, like walking around, but I don't do rides. And I'm not a ride person. I'm not a roller coaster person. We did like a few of the like we did like the Ratatouille thing where you just like sit in a car and it like kind of swings around, like the kid type rides. Toy Story, we did that one. Like, I can do those. I get sick. I get motion sickness is my thing.
That's fair. It's funny. I get more woozy on the kid rides.
Interesting.
Like, I like roller coasters more than I like, like the one at Adventureland, the one that's just the ship that swings back and forth.
Yeah.
That one freaks me out. I don't like that one.
I could probably do that one.
But I could do the space shot, and I'll scream the whole way up, but I have a blast doing it.
I couldn't do it. But I told her, I'm like, if there's one ride you can, like, not kid ride, but one ride you can pick, and I'll do it with you. And it was Tower of Terror. And I get motion sick, and I hate heights. I'm not a heights person.
I'm not either.
And so I did that. And we went to the top, and so I didn't know this until afterwards, but apparently on Tower of Terror at Disney, it'll do like fake out drops. And it's not the same. It's different every single time you ride the ride. And so I didn't know that. So I was like, all right, well, here we go. One drop and we're done. It's like, nope, it goes drop, up again, drop. And then it finally goes to the top. There's a window outside so you can see outside. I'm like, oh God, like we're really high up here. And we drop all the way down. I legit almost passed out. Kayla had to yell at me afterwards for almost like breaking her hand. I did not do good. But then as soon as we got off, Goofy was walking around and made me feel better that I got to see Goofy. So
amazing. I don't do heights either, but
Yeah, no.
I like rides. And I think it's because like, Final Destination 3 aside, I know I'm going to survive it. Like I'm strapped in and I feel like
See, I don't believe
weirdly.
that.
Oh God,
I don't trust carnies.
I love putting my life in the hands of like a 19-year-old who has been smoking weed all day.
Or some guy whose only job he could find was at a
Yeah,
traveling carnival. Yeah.
some guy who just got out of prison who hasn't seen the light of day for the last 20 years and is now just like
Having to
pulling
push a
levers on
button.
a
Yeah.
carnival ride. Yeah. I love that. I'm a big carnival person. I love theme parks. Um
But the thing is,
yeah.
okay, the point I was trying to make with that story is that might be the most popular elevator in like or scariest elevator in pop culture.
Yeah.
When I got
Yeah.
back from that trip, I would take the elevator at work because that's the only way up and down. Uh, yeah, I thought it like for at least a week was gonna drop on me every
Oh
time I
man.
got on the elevator. So I don't do elevators. I can do elevators, but I don't do them as well anymore. At least for that week afterwards.
I have to do elevators at work too because I work in a tower. Like I clean a tower and you can't haul a janitor cart up a stairwell. But otherwise I take the stairs all the time. I do not like elevators. I never have. Even as a kid they freaked me out. I did get stuck on one once at a doctor's appointment. I was going up and it was only for like it probably was only for about 5 minutes, but it was enough to just like wig me out. That was like when I was a little kid. Um, and I tell you, like an elevator shakes, or like I hate when I have a kid on an elevator that's like jumping. That freaks me out.
Do you want another
Um,
story, Sam?
yeah, I do.
I was that kid that jumped on elevators.
Oh, I hate you.
And so when I was a kid, I had cousins who taught me that, where they're like, hey, if you jump on an elevator, it'll like go up and then it'll go back down, or, vice versa. Like it'll go the
Yeah,
opposite of whichever way you're going. I was like, oh, that's so cool because it's like, then it's like a ride.
yeah.
I think this is probably where my fear of elevators came from because I did it once when we were on vacation. It was just my parents and just my younger sibling. And I jumped and it stopped.
No.
It stopped. And we were probably, I don't know, I was maybe like 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. And so this is like early 2000s. I don't know if my parents had a cell phone or not, but we had to use the phone that's in the elevator.
Oh,
Like, that emergency
yeah,
phone. We had
yeah.
to use that and
Oh
call for
man.
help. I think we were stuck on the elevator maybe 20 minutes. I think they just had to like reset it and
Yeah.
then it worked. But yeah, we were stuck on the elevator for maybe like 20 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, I got told let's not jump on
Yeah.
elevators ever again after that.
I imagine if I had a kid who did that and stopped an elevator and got me trapped in it, oh God,
They'd be taking the stairs for the rest of their life.
they'd be at the fire station.
They'd be taking the stairs for the rest of their life like the characters in 1983's Lift did at the end of the
Yes.
movie.
Yes. All right. Should we get into them?
Let's jump
Should...
into it. Let's jump
Okay.
into it. Hey, let's not jump into it because if we
Yeah.
did that in an elevator, we're getting stuck. Let's just go along for the ride with this one, Sam. We're kicking it
Yeah.
off. 1983's The Lift, written directed by Dick
Dick Moss.
Moss.
All right. The plot of The Lift. When an elevator overheats a group of horny, obnoxious drunkards and kills two other people, elevator repairman Felix Adelar goes above and beyond with the help of intrepid tabloid journalist Mickey DeBeer to put an end to its technological reign of terror. Starring Hoob Staple, I believe that's how you say it, and Willeke van Ameroy. Take the stairs. Take the stairs. For God's sake, take the stairs. Best tagline ever. This movie fucking rules.
This movie is a ton of fun. It's I think the pacing is my biggest issue and we'll talk about it later, but I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun with this movie still. I
Yeah.
think you had a lot more fun than I did with the movie.
I was laughing through the whole thing. I loved it. Yeah.
But it's a ton of fun. It's kind of what I expected from a Dutch production
Yeah.
from the guy who made Amsterdam about a killer elevator.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. So this was a first time watch for both of us. Um, we watched these both together,
Back to back.
back to back.
We did the full double feature like we preach on this podcast. We did the double feature.
Yep, we did it the right way, like one in the or two in the afternoon on a Sunday. Um, but yeah, so when you suggested this as a double feature, I had heard of The Lift. I did not realize that it was directed by Dick Moss, who last year Joe Bob introduced me to through Amsterdam, a movie that I love dearly and will go to bat for. I'm so excited. The sequel's coming later this year. Um,
Starring our boy, Hubes Staple?
Staple.
Staple is probably how you pronounce it.
Yeah, who is also the lead in the original Amsterdam, playing essentially the same character, except for he's actually a cop in Amsterdam. Um,
He's not Fix-It Felix in Amsterdam.
yeah. I like this movie. Yeah, it's kind of like you said. It's exactly what I expected. And I mean that in the best way because I'm a sucker for 80s movies that have, lightning strike an appliance and the appliance goes haywire. Um, as someone whose like favorite movie is Chopping Mall, this movie worked for me on so many levels. I think it shares a lot of DNA. Not what I mean, like Chopping Mall came 3 years after this, but this was very this was a very prevalent type of movie in the 80s where it was like technology gone wrong.
I feel like our podcast is built around the concept of lightning striking something because our favorite Universal monster is Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Our favorite like B movie is Chopping Mall.
Yeah. Our favorite Jason movie.
I was gonna say our favorite Friday the 13th is Jason Lives. I think our podcast got struck by lightning when we started this.
It had to have.
It had to have been. That's how the show started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also a sucker for that because I just like if you don't. I think it's the easiest explanation you can do in a horror movie, and it's one that somehow just makes sense.
Yeah.
Is lightning strikes some form of technology, or anything metal, for that matter, and just electrocutes it to be evil or whatever the plot device needs to be.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not evil. Sometimes it's just like short circuit, and it's just like, little robot.
But this one has more than just the lightning strike. This one has like evil technology.
Yeah, organic computer chips.
Yeah.
That ooze blue cum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are made of like organic material that decays and is goopy.
It's kind of gnarly. I love it. This movie goes to some unexpected places, and I don't know if it always explains those places fully. Like it by the end you still have quite a few questions like, wait, hold up, what? But I feel like that's part of the charm of this, is it's like, we're not going to explain it to you. Just watch this. It's awesome. The final kill in the movie is a fucking banger, but it makes no sense in the context of what this elevator's been able to do previously.
No, that's the thing. It kind of fluctuates between being like evil elevator struck by lightning to organic flesh elevator
with
controlled by
its own.
Yeah, like an AI microchip basically making it go evil for reasons, versus just a like demonic elevator. Like it's kind of all three of those things and none of those things all together.
Yeah. So
you are also wearing your Chopping Mall shirt today. I just realized that.
I wore it for this reason exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get into the lift, Casey. How does the lift start?
The lift starts with so I want to talk about the building of this lift because that's going to lead into our opening scene. The building is very confusing what they do in this high-rise building in the Netherlands, okay?
It's
There's
an
so
entire
many different
city in one building.
everything's in there.
Yeah.
It has a restaurant, it has some real estate offices. People live there.
Yeah.
What else is in? There's another.
I mean, it's like it's offices, restaurants, penthouses,
Yeah,
like all sorts of basically like it's a city in one building. And that the trailer even says as much. If you watch like the super cheesy 80s trailer to this.
but
Um
it's not explained that well, or shown.
no.
It's more explained than shown. It does a opposite of show not tell. It does a tell we're not going to show.
Well, it just introduces a bunch of random characters that work and or live in this building.
Yeah. So
And
the opening.
they're doing whatever needs to be done to like service the scene, I guess.
So the opening is with these two very horny, very obnoxious couples
Who are
that
way
are eating
too
at the
drunk.
restaurant. The restaurant is at the top of the
Yeah.
building, of the high rise.
And the
They are-
restaurant's trying to close and they're not leaving.
They're not leaving, but they are horny. Capital HORNY.
Yeah.
Horny.
Yeah. They
So much so that when they get in the elevator has been struck by lightning at this point. And they get in the elevator and they get trapped in it, just like 8-year-old Casey did. But in this case, these people they're like, all right, well, we're stuck in here. Let's just fuck in this elevator.
I'm pretty sure two of those people start fucking before the elevator even gets stuck.
Oh, they were
They were
making
like
out.
They were making out, like boobs
But
are out.
Boobs were out before.
Yeah.
Boobs came out after they were stuck, though.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
well, if we're gonna be in here a while,
Yeah.
might as well.
But then the AC stops working or something. And immediately these people, it's like, speaking of Chopping Mall, it's literally like the scene where the girls go up into the vents and within 30 seconds Barbara Crampton's like, it's too hot.
I gotta get out of here.
And that's
Yeah,
what
I don't-
happens to these people in this elevator.
There's no time frame for how long they're in this elevator, but they all
No.
pass out from heat stroke. Apparently, none of them die though.
No, none of them die. The inciting incident of this movie is not a kill.
Not a kill. Characters that we don't ever see again either.
Yeah. I wish
But
they
it's-
would have killed them because they're annoying.
Yeah, they probably should have just got killed.
Yeah.
But then Felix shows up. He's a maintenance repair person for the elevator company.
Yeah.
And he comes out to fix the elevator. And we got to talk about Felix as a character. So Felix is a family man, has a wife,
Is
two
he?
children. Well, he's a family. Like, he has a family.
He has a family. I wouldn't call him a family man.
I don't know what his family life is like, though, besides that he has a wife and two children.
So it's kind of interesting, right? Because in these movies, you typically either have like the guy who's all into his family and he'd do anything for his family, and that's his character. Or you have the Dr. Chalice from Halloween 3 archetype where it's like, I mean, he's kind of a dad, but really he's just a dirtbag who's gonna bed whatever woman is around, right? And this movie tries to make Felix both of those
Yeah.
at the same time.
And
But
doesn't
it
commit to either.
either one.
Either one.
Because he's not a completely absentee father. He doesn't sleep with the like love interest. Let's just call it what it is, the love interest
Yeah.
of this movie. But like,
But
when
there's
his
no
wife
resolution.
blows up at him
Yeah.
halfway through the movie and like leaves his ass, you don't really understand why.
Yeah, we don't know Felix as a character at all. He's a maintenance person
Yeah.
and has a wife and two kids. That's the basics of what we know about this guy. And
He really cares about elevator repair.
really cares about elevator repairs and also might think he's a detective on a case.
So
So here's the thing. How, like you mentioned, there's two different archetypes that they could have gone with. One, the family man who cares about his family more than anything, will do anything for them. That's where you put the maintenance person in.
mhm.
And then you end the movie with, like, his wife or one of the kids in peril on the elevator.
Yeah.
Or you do where he's a detective police officer and has to team up outside the system with this reporter.
Mhm.
And there's the love interest.
But They
This
try to
movie's
make it
like
both.
literally combines both of them into this guy.
Yeah.
And it makes him such a nothing burger of a character by combining both of those.
I disagree. I think he's a great character.
What? He's a nothing burger.
Here's the thing.
Name one characteristic about this guy.
He loves elevator repair.
He does.
And here's the thing. I work in custodial maintenance, right? Like, I've worked with elevator repair people. I have worked with maintenance people. They're really boring. Like, and I say that with a lot of love. Like, when I'm at my job, I'm really boring too. Like, I'm not an interesting fellow. But, I don't want him to act like a normal maintenance guy. So when he starts doing all of this police detective work because he cares so much about his job, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want out of this movie.
Like, he's still boring at that, though.
No, he like even has a moment where he's like, fine, you can take my badge and gun, or, tool belt, or whatever the equivalent is, and he walks out on his boss.
He goes outside of the elevator repair system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't do things by the elevator repair book.
No, he does not. And that, I think, is where his character is fascinating.
I was amused by the non-character of this guy. It was amusing that he was an elevator repairman who thought he was a cop.
He's the most interesting non-character I've ever seen. Like,
exactly.
He is a really fun, boring protagonist. He's like fixing an ambulance. Can we talk about the ambulance? Like, the cold open happens, right? And the people, we don't know if they've died or not yet, but we see an ambulance. And at first you think it's like a legit ambulance, the way it's framed, because it's a close-up on this ambulance, and it's racing. And all of a sudden the camera like pulls back, and you see it's on the floor of an apartment, and it runs into
Felix's wife.
Felix's wife's leg, yeah. And you find out that it's a child's toy that he has bought for his son.
It's a fun edit. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, like, his wife is always kind of like, oh, you had to buy him noisy toys. And he's like, oh, kids love noisy toys. Does he have a daughter in this too, or is it just the kid? Yeah, the daughter does nothing. Like, why is the daughter here?
Why is his family there?
Because he has to have nothing to lose at the end when he goes and he's like, I'm going to stop this elevator whether I die or not. My wife and kids left me. He apparently
does have nothing to lose because he doesn't give a shit about his family when they leave.
Yeah.
So, like, we're kind of jumping all over the place, but we got to talk about Felix, because that's the biggest part of this goddamn movie. His wife finds out from one of their friends who see Felix and the reporter together at a restaurant. Don't ask any questions, just assume that he's out on a date with this woman.
Yeah.
Wife comes home, is having dinner with the family. Again, doesn't ask him any questions.
Just accuses him of adultery in front of the children.
Accuses him of it. Because the children ask about it.
Yeah.
She throws the children into this already. And they leave the next goddamn day. And what does Felix do?
He goes
and checks on that elevator.
So that scene is so funny.
And what happens by the end of the movie? He, of course, finds his wife and children. They get back together and are a big, happy family, right?
No.
No, we never hear from the wife or kids after that.
Which brings me to my only negative about this movie. Mickey DeBeer, the reporter, played by Willeke Van Ameroy. Total smoke show. Totally capable. I love that she works at like a tabloid that does not have a good reputation, but she's like, I'm a hard-nosed journalist. Love that archetype. Love the tabloid.
I love this archetype. Like, she's my favorite character in the movie.
She's fantastic.
She probably should just be the lead of the movie.
Don't do my boy Hugh like that.
Hey, Hugh can be the love interest. We don't need her to be the love interest.
I mean, he basically is. Interest. He's the yeah. So here's the thing. In Halloween 3, Dr. Chalice and what's her face, the one whose dad died in the opening, they like fully just like they're like on this investigation together. The tensions are high. You can tell they just need to let out some steam and they fuck, right?
Yeah.
This movie needed that.
It needed it.
I don't like. I'm not like one of those people that's like, oh, you have to have boobies. Like this one, this movie has boobies. Like it has sex in it, but like the wrong people are having sex in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird.
Felix and the reporter needed to go up and down on the elevator, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. They needed to needle drop some Aerosmith. Which I actually read up on the American remake of this, which Dick Moss also directed. Apparently, they do needle drop the "Love in an Elevator" by Aerosmith in that one. I'm like, all right, I'm in. I can't wait to watch this.
Okay, so one of my biggest problems is, though, and it starts with the opening, there's not enough deaths in this movie. The deaths that it does have are a ton of fun.
Yeah.
But they're few and far between, because we get two basically right in the beginning, which lead off Felix
which
to be
are
like,
awesome.
all right, something's wrong here. The first one is with a blind man who is buying in a condo inside the high-rise building. Yeah. And it's such a mean kill because the elevator opens and it's not there. And we get a fake out of he's not going in. It opens again and he just walks right into it.
But he catches himself
somehow.
And he's yelling for help. And even though the guy who just like screwed him into buying a condo he probably can't afford, the guy just walked away. You know that someone was within earshot and no one goes to help this guy and he just falls down the elevator shaft.
And then we get two security guards, question mark?
Two security guards who are in the basement, and one of them's gross. One of them's talking, like bragging to the young kid. He's like, you gotta get more action. Like, I got so much action back in my day that I'm immune to penicillin. Ha 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 ha. And I'm like, that's disgusting.
That's just VD. There's no...
Yeah.
There's no cure for you, buddy.
This security guard is disgusting, and luckily
they hear a
he's
noise
the one
in the elevator.
Yeah, they notice the elevator's going up, and they think someone's entered the building, so they go up to investigate, and the elevator doors open, and the car's not there again. And like they look down and they find the blind guy, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And the doors close on the penicillin guy's neck. Apparently this stunt was extremely dangerous and they had concerns. They shot it in reverse, but they still had concerns because they had like a metal safety bar that was supposed to like stop the elevator, but none of them knew for sure that the elevator would actually stop above this guy's head. I'm like, damn, you couldn't pay me enough.
And I looked up, all of the actors did their own stunts. There's no stunt performers in this movie, so the guy gets decapitated has his head in an actual elevator shaft.
Which, like I said, not enough money in the world, especially not on the budget this movie probably had.
Yeah. But we get a gnarly special effect when his head finally does get decapitated, where the elevator just comes down and just right off. The head falls completely off the body.
And the cut from like his actual head to the prosthetic is really smooth. Like it is a goddamn good effect, and it's probably the most terrifying and like disturbing death of the whole movie, I'd say. Like the blind guy falling down is mean-spirited, but like it's also kind of comical. This one, like I mean it's still pretty funny because it's the VD guy, but but it's like, oh god, like that one, I feel like I'm gonna do, I know we already talked about the Final Destination movies last week, but I'm gonna throw Final Destination 2 under the bus again. That elevator decapitation pales in comparison to this one.
Oh yeah, the one on the left is better than Final
like,
Destination 2.
Yeah. Fuck that movie. Anyways,
Yeah, so those are the two kills, like right in the beginning, and then we get a long drag of like the investigating part of this movie.
yeah, we meet we meet Felix's friend and his wife
Who
in a
basically heard, yeah, the wife calls it his friend a fat piece of shit at the bowling alley.
yeah, and like even his own wife is like, "You're not gonna get that. You're too fat already. We're drinking whatever." Um, Also, this is a bowling alley that serves wine. Uh, Listeners of the
That's
show,
not the no. That's not the weird part of it, Sam.
it is
I
the
understand
weird part.
because
There's no wine at bowling alleys.
no, all bowling alleys they're basically a bar, but
They
they have
are,
bowling
but
there.
wine?
The weirdos are the people that order wine at a bowling alley.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
fair.
weird part.
That's fair.
It's not weird that they have it because it is a bar. It's weird that they order wine.
I think both are weird. Wine is not a bowling alley drink.
Favorite part of the scene though, we get a POV from the bowling ball
Yeah.
going down the lane and getting a strike. It's fun.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you can expect from Dick Moss, who in the two movies that I've seen of his, I've already labeled him the Dutch John Carpenter, mostly because he knows how to work a minuscule budget for maximum effect, and he scores his own movies, which is cool as hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of
But
stuff you get from him is like the bowling ball shot. Like I love
yeah,
that
you
shit.
get and the ambulance shot at the beginning is fun.
Yeah, yeah.
But then also you get these weird transitions where it has like this
Fade outs.
fade to black in between scenes,
Yeah.
like it's a TV show.
And it's
It's
not.
not.
It was theatrically
It's
released.
so weird, and it might just be like the Shutter release. I'm not sure.
I tried looking into this and I couldn't find anything that was like conclusive on if this was like the TV version because I think this was the 2K scan that was from the Blu-ray that was released a few years ago. So I think the fade-ins are just weirdly built into the movie. And what's even stranger is there's a fade out midway through the climactic like elevator battle at the end. It fades out and then it comes back in right where we left off, and it's like, what's the choice there? There was no.
And it'll
Yeah.
like fade out the score too,
Yeah,
and it'll come back in like the score completely drops out and then comes
Yeah.
right back in. I don't know.
it
It's so
really
weird.
makes
It's
it
very
feel like
weird.
a TV movie, and so I couldn't find anything about that. I don't know. Listeners, if you know more about the lift than we do,
Yeah. If Dick
Let
Moss
us
is
know.
listening to this, please
Yeah.
let us know.
if Dick
Also-
Moss is listening to this, please be on our show.
Yeah, please come
I
on the
love you.
podcast for Amsterdam too. Like,
Yeah,
I think the most iconic part of this movie though is that the poster and then the scene with the little girl,
yeah,
where it's
Just-
again a beautifully shot scene of her like center framed outside of the elevators, and then we get the reverse of her in front of the elevators.
And the elevators are like these beautiful red doors that are also very ominous. Oh, and inside you've got the like pink mood lighting. Like, it's very atmospheric. I love why we get this little girl in front of the elevators though, because it's some sleazy businessman. Like one of the security guards even goes like, "Oh, he's not here," or "He's not available right now," and they're like, "Why?" And they're like, "It's Wednesday. He's fucking."
Yeah, he gets his rocks off every Wednesday apparently.
Just cuts to his office and
So
he's like,
he's the owner of this building
That's right. He's
because
the
he
owner.
gets his in the end, right? Or is that a
No.
different guy?
I think it's a different guy.
Is that the
'Cause-
scientist?
Yeah, the guy at the end is the scientist.
Oh, then, but yeah, this is the owner of the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's
Yeah.
he's canoodling with a lady on the couch
the
in
girl's
his
mom.
office. And she makes reference to like, "Oh, it's fine, my kid's out in the hallway," and this little girl's like playing with a doll, and the elevators start playing a game with her where they're just like opening up back and forth, and she's running through. And it's a really effective scene because I didn't know how this scene ended. I thought the little girl was for sure going to get it, and she doesn't, but her doll gets maimed.
Yeah.
And then the mom comes out and sees that her doll's arm got torn off in an elevator. And instead of showing concern, she slaps her across the face and tells her to be more careful. Like, what? Insane. This movie is insane.
Yeah. This movie, I mean, it pulls its punch by not killing the little girl. I think it's the right choice.
Yeah. I do kind of wish it killed the kid. I do kind of.
Also, like, I don't know, you could have tied this back to Felix with this.
Yeah.
With the little kid, even with his wife. Maybe his wife is the one sleeping with the guy. There's ways you could tie this into to Felix more, because it has no bearing on the plot of the rest of the movie.
No, like a lot of this movie is kind of a series of vignettes of an elevator doing
Of the
creepy
elevator.
things, and then two people who should be fucking but aren't because they're too busy investigating something that doesn't really concern them.
Yeah.
I do love. I think it's his friend who is also an elevator
exactly like
repairman.
him.
Yeah, they look so similar. But he has a great line that I wrote down that's like, you know what? I'm gonna retire and let my mother-in-law work. Now that's a good idea.
We should also mention then
The dub.
the dubbing in this movie. So the movie is, it was made in the Netherlands. It's not an English movie, but it is dubbed in English.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's what you expect from an 80s horror movie dub. It's fine.
A terrible dub,
It's not.
though.
Yeah, it's fine. There's
Yeah.
one in particular though, and it's when they're investigating and they learn about like the organic material, the organic microchip. It's that guy. It's the scientist guy who makes like these weird grunting sounds that feel like a choice by the voice actor who's doing
By
the dub.
actor. Yeah, yeah.
Who's like yeah.
Well, and
Like
the way
just
he's
those
reading
type of
it,
sounds
too,
in between lines. It's so funny.
it sounds like he's reading out of encyclopedia too. Like it sounds like an audiobook of like it sounds like the audio
It's his
version
first
of a
take. It
textbook.
was his first take every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, 100%. And he's talking about like organic computer chips made out of protein that can like reproduce. Like it's the most insane psychobabble, but this movie takes it for fact. It's just like, yeah, this happens.
Yeah.
What did I put? Yeah. Suicidal organic computer chips made of protein that reproduce.
Yep.
That's a thing in this world.
It's a thing in this world, and we get to see it. We get to see it by the end of the movie. I'm gonna jump to the third act because that's kind of where we're at. Is that Felix breaks into the building? He's like, all right,
not before the elevator eats and then regurgitates a janitor, who's like buffing the floor. That's like the third kill.
Apparently,
right before the third act. Yeah. The elevator doors just open, like, the camera zooms in on him and he just goes, "Whoa!" And then later he just falls through the...
Michael or Jason or Michael Myers style just falls through the elevator.
Just falls through.
So Felix breaks in and he's going to end this once and for all. He's going to destroy the elevator. I don't know what his plan was.
Yeah.
Destroy the elevator? Right?
Destroy it. Yeah, he's got to find the main source of power.
Yeah.
And it's actually in the shaft.
And in the shaft, he finds like this red pulsating microchip that's just like covered in like, it looks like the slime from the opening of Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Yeah. With kind of a blue hue to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Goopy, gross. But he finds the microchip.
And he gives it quite a few knocks with the wrench, but it doesn't seem to be doing much with that.
And then the elevator starts going up and down and like starts like cutting his back every time it goes up and down. Yep. Finally, he falls and he lands on like, just holding himself up inside the shaft. The elevator's about to come down on him. And who shows up to save the day? His wife. No, the reporter shows up. Yeah.
She's the real hero here.
Yeah.
I love her.
How does she know he's there? How does she know what floor he's on? I'm asking too many questions about a kill elevator movie. I know this.
You are, yeah. she's like my aura. I just I want to be I want to be as cool and smoke showy and confident as her. She's just like she's where she needs to be, wherever she needs to be. She
Falling in
knows
love with elevator repairmen.
ones that look like that. Yeah. He's a good-looking guy, Casey. He's a good-looking guy.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
I mean, I saw his face on the Amsterdam 2 poster, and he can still get it.
I believe
He's
that.
aged well. He's aged
I believe
well.
that. Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
that. You know, the Dutch tend to do that.
Yeah, yeah. There's one line I jotted down. I think this comes right before the third act, but it's like it's his boss. It's the big blow up scene where it's like the give me your gun and badge type of scene, but with his boss at the elevator
Give me
repair
your
shop.
wrench and tool belt.
Yeah. And like as the guy's walking away, as Felix is walking away, his boss goes, "I expect you to stay away from that lift and from women from newspapers."
He does neither. He does neither.
He does neither. He immediately goes to the elevator, and then the woman with the newspaper shows up, and he's all about it. All about it.
All about it. Then the scientist who created that microchip shows up again randomly, and a giant like metal cable comes swinging out of the elevator.
You think he's gonna shoot them, right?
Yeah.
But then he shoots the computer chip, like Dr. Loomis style, essentially. He's like, bah, 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 bah. Like, I shot him 6 times, and it still hangs him. Because, yeah, the cable comes through.
Again, is it the chip? Is it an evil elevator? Is it lightning? We'll
It's
never
all
know.
three. It's all
We'll
three.
never know.
He says something about, like, the chip is sick, and I'm like, okay. Is it sick from lightning sickness? Like, what?
I don't know.
I love this movie. It's so
I
good.
don't know.
But yeah,
Sam.
you get that gnarly death of him hanging, and then they take the stairs down and live happily ever after.
Credits roll.
And I gotta believe that they shack up immediately after this and get all that pent up energy out.
Yeah,
You know?
they climb in the back of his repair car and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they bone.
they bone. Sam, the lift. I have a few pieces of trivia to throw out here.
Yeah.
Dick Moss was fired from this movie. Did you know that? During
I read
production.
that.
And then rehired. Because they knew they could not finish this movie without Dutch John Carpenter.
I
Dick
read
Moss.
that the day he got fired, too, he refused to leave set, and he's like, well, I'm going to finish this day anyways. Just finish the day.
I respect that. I
I do, too. That's a guy who cares about his B movie, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
a passion that shows through in this movie, I feel like.
Yeah. This movie does have a remake from... What year did that come out?
01, I believe.
So 2001. Who was in it? It was Naomi Watts, right?
Yeah, Naomi Watts, Ron Perlman. Oh my god. Let's pull up this cast list, because it's
Sorry,
it's
I
kind
had
of
it pulled
insane.
up. Now it went away. And of course, IMDb doesn't want to be my friend now.
Okay. It's also in other... So, like, it's also titled The Shaft. There's Down, and then there's The Shaft. Yeah,
Not to
like
be
Naomi
confused
Watts.
with Shaft from
Yeah.
the 90s.
Got Naomi Watts. Michael Ironside. Edward Herman from The Lost Boys. Like, what? Like I said, Ron Perlman. It's kind of the big names in this cast. But that's a pretty fucking stacked cast.
Yeah, pretty wild that, 15 years later, he would go on to make an American remake of his own movie.
Yeah.
At the height of, like, American remakes of horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. Where's our Dutch horror remake boom?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Is he, like, the only, like, Dutch horror movie?
Where's our American remake of Amsterdam?
He's making the sequel. That's what we're getting instead.
Yeah.
But
I
Sam,
will say, too, the score of this movie
Yeah.
is pretty phenomenal.
it's pretty great. It's a great score.
and it's not available on streaming anywhere, which is unfortunate. But his Amsterdam score is available on Spotify and Apple Music, and I definitely recommend checking that out.
He also got paid a lot more for that score, which I think is a John Carpenter thing too, where that's
Yeah.
why he wanted to do the scores for his movies. You get paid a lot more for that than the directing. So,
Oh, yeah.
pulling from that JC handbook over in the
Yeah.
Netherlands.
I also think I read somewhere for the score of this movie, he literally just rented out two synthesizers and recorded the whole score just on two different synthesizers, and that was it. That's all it was. That's dope as fuck. Long live Dick Moss.
Long live Dick Moss. Respect to the Dutch filmmakers out there.
Yeah.
We need more of them. We need more of them.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, how many elevator rides are you giving The Lift 1983?
I give The Lift 4 out of 5. I feel like this is one of those. The first time I watched Chopping Mall, I'm pretty sure I gave it a 3.5. And then the second time I watched Chopping Mall, I gave it a 4. And then it stayed 4 for a few times before moving up to 5 stars, and I could see this movie on a similar trajectory. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for now, with the caveat that it'll probably go up to 5 out of 5 after I've obsessively watched it multiple times. What about you, Casey?
I gave it 2.5 out of 5. I'm going to bump that up to 3 out of 5.
Yeah!
We're going to go into the positive rating. I did have a ton of fun with this movie, problems and all, and I think that adds to the charm of The Lift. Yeah, the kills are maybe too few and far between. The plot is really all over the place, but it's kind of the charm of the movie. So yeah, 3 out of 5 for The Lift for me.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me so happy. I love that. I love that.
All right, well, before we hop on the elevator to our next film, let's go to our first ad read from our friends at Full Moon. We have joined the Full Moon Army, and we want you to take advantage of our exclusive offer for listeners to Screams from the Basement. Full Moon Features, best known for their video aisle classic franchises such as Puppet Master, Subspecies, and the Evil Bong series, is offering 10% off every order on fullmoonhorror.com when you use our discount code SCREAMS at checkout. This goes towards all in-stock items, including Blu-rays, DVDs, replicas, action figures, and so much more. Again, visit fullmoonhorror.com and use promo code SCREAMS at checkout to save 10% on your order. Thank you, Full Moon. All right, Sam, let's move on to movie number 2, 2010. We're going all the way to 2010. Great year. We were both in high school.
Yeah.
This was a high school movie for me.
Yeah, I think I watched this in high school too. I'm pretty sure that was when I watched it. If it wasn't high school, it was pretty shortly after high school. And I haven't watched it since.
2010's Devil, from original concept by M. Night Shyamalan. Directed by John Eric Dowdle, who made As Above, So Below, The Poughkeepsie Tapes, Quarantine. Yeah. Relative mainstay of horror, these really small budget horror films of the time.
But impactful. I feel like all of those have their followings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Written by Brian Nelson. What's that? Written by Brian. Let me get this out. Written by Brian Nelson, based on the original concept by M. Night Shyamalan. Anyway, go ahead.
Weirdly enough, I feel like Devil, looking at his filmography, I feel like this is one that's kind of tucked away that doesn't get as much
praise.
As much praise.
Well, guess what? That's why we're here.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan first before we get into the movie.
Yeah.
And set up where we're at in M. Night's career.
Do we want to read the plot first?
Sure.
I've got a good plot.
Okay, let's hear the plot. I assume it has to deal with M. Night.
Oh no, it has nothing to do with M. Night, but we'll talk about M. Night afterwards. 5 assholes are trapped in an elevator and begin dying one by one, while a grieving cop, an extremely superstitious security guard, and Temu Sean Penn try to get to the bottom of things.
Timu.
Timu. Timu Sean Penn fucked up the joke. God damn it.
God damn it.
Who are these individuals? Why do all attempts at rescue end in death? Why does this gigantic building only have one maintenance guy? All of this and more will be kind of answered by the end of this movie.
Will be answered by some guy's voiceover by the end of the movie.
Some guy who turns out to be the overly superstitious security guard. Love the voiceover in this, by the way.
Oh, I love it. It's incredible. Ramirez is my favorite character in this movie.
Yeah,
I love
he's
him.
great.
He was the one he's the one main thing I remember about this movie is the overly superstitious Hispanic character. Love
The
him.
only thing I remembered about this movie was the reveal of who the devil was.
It's a great reveal.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So
It's
this
pretty great.
movie comes out 2010. M. Night Shyamalan in his career is in like that transition phase, I
Yeah.
feel like, right? Because he had the big hits like Sixth Sense, Signs, The Village. Lady in the Water was his last movie before this, which was not a hit. I love that movie.
Wasn't The Happening 08?
The Happening was 08. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was his
yeah.
last movie before this. That's right.
So not in a great place.
Not in a great place. I do love The Happening for all the right and wrong reasons.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun misfire. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, it is one of the best, worst movies ever made.
Yeah.
It just is. And he is about to make Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is that's the downfall of M. Night, really, is that
Yeah.
movie, and then After Earth right after, where no one wanted to touch him with a 10-foot pole after those two back to back. And so here, though, he still at least has like his own productions going on. This feels very M. Night in terms of the story, the size of the movie,
Yeah.
how characters interact with each other and speak in the movie. All feels very
The
M.
fact
Night
that it's set
Shyamalan.
in fucking Philadelphia.
It's set in Philadelphia. They talk about the Eagles. Like, it's a very Philly movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking that M. Night wasn't
This feels more
more
like an M.
involved,
Night.
but I think he's pretty involved. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
This feels like more of an M. Night movie than The Last Airbender, which came out in the same year.
Feels more like an M. Night movie than The Happening.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's funny, I saw The Last Airbender in theaters back in 2010. I did not see this movie in theaters. This was a DVD rental. I made the wrong choice.
So I watched this like probably in like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And I think it was probably like early days of Netflix when I watched this.
Yeah, it was on Netflix for a while. I do remember that, yeah.
So I watched it, a couple years afterwards. Obviously knew who M. Night Shyamalan was. I had a ton of fun with it. I think this movie still is a ton of fun.
Yeah, it is.
But the biggest thing about it, going in this time watching it, it's one I've wanted to rewatch for a while. I remember Ramirez as a character, and I remember that it was PG-13. Which is crazy, because we talked about PG-13 ratings when we talked about Prom Night a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how that movie just didn't understand how to use that rating, really.
Yeah, to maximum effect.
To maximum effect, where you could tell me this is an R-rated movie.
And I'd believe it.
And I believe it.
It's pretty brutal, honestly. Like there's some gnarly stuff in here. There's a significant amount of bloodshed for a PG-13 movie. I mean, honestly, it has more blood in it than like the original Halloween does.
Yeah. Someone gets cut in the jugular, someone gets hung, someone gets their neck snapped, like all the way around.
All the way around, like a fucking owl, man. Like,
it's insane how much violence is in this PG-13 movie.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess maybe part of what gets around it is like it's always a black screen when the death is happening and then you just see the aftermath. But I'm like, that's almost more upsetting, honestly, because you don't know what you're going to see when everything comes back up again, when the lights come on and Yeah,
and it's a great use of the space, because how much can you do inside of the elevator besides like quick cuts, like with like flashing lights or something? And that would just be nauseating and a cop-out, really. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't really do that. It just
Yeah.
cuts to black. Cuts the lights out, and then we come back up, and something has happened. I do like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the opening of the movie starts with a biblical verse that I wrote down. Because this movie is very biblical and over dramatic with its biblical text.
Yep.
It's not subtext, just text. Kind of like Signs.
Yeah. Very much like Signs.
So it opens with this line: "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour."
Yeah. I mean, that's the plot of the movie.
That's the
Right
plot.
there.
That's the plot. We're done. All right,
Yeah.
Sam, what's your rating for Devil? No, we get opening like aerial shots of
Yeah.
Philadelphia. It's like all upside down too, which I think is a pretty
Yeah.
cool visual to start off the movie. And then we see this body fall.
Yeah. And just crush the top of a van.
Yep.
I love the score of this movie. Like the way it starts off, it's very bombastic but ominous.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed with like the cinematography of the upside down skyline and everything. I don't necessarily know what the upside down skyline has to do with any of the rest of the movie. Like
We're
it
in
feels,
hell.
I guess, like it's a strange choice, but I like it because it kind of you're off kilter from the moment this movie starts. I do.
Shyamalan had a thing for bodies falling out of the sky around this
Yeah.
time because The Happening has bodies falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
This one does right away. And then we meet our main detective, who's technically our main character. I mean, it's an ensemble movie, but he's...
But he kind of disappears for a lot of the first act, actually. Like, he's introduced, and then they kind of push him to the side while we set up the 5 people in the elevator.
In the elevator, yeah.
Which makes sense as a structural choice. But it is kind of like when they bring him back in, it's like, oh yeah, he's still here.
Yeah. He's the cop investigating why this has all been happening.
Yeah, because he's investigating the suicide.
Yeah.
Which is already kind of weird. He says something about the suicide note being partially coherent and partially insane, and he's like,
And the
it's
body
usually one or
lands,
the
like,
other.
3 blocks away from the building. Like, completely out of the way of the building.
Well, because it lands on the truck, but then I think they say,
But then
like,
they go to the
truck
building,
rolls.
and there's
Yeah.
glass on the ground outside of the building, nowhere near
Yeah.
where the body is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really
weird.
explained, like, did he fly over? I don't know.
Well, because I think you're meant to imply that the truck, like, rolled, but I'm like, how would it have done that, though? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how would the truck have... It was inoperable.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But then we get our 5 characters who really take up a big chunk of this movie. We can kind of break down each of them. First up is Sarah, who is played by Borjana Nokovic.
Yeah, most boring character in the whole thing.
Yeah, she's kind of just young female character. Like, there's not much about her, really.
Yeah.
Besides that, she's like, we figure out later on in the movie where she like marries these guys and then takes their money and then leaves them.
Mm-hmm.
And she has done that with the owner of this building's son.
Yeah. And like, that would be great if there was anything in the actual performance or writing that showed us that instead of just told us.
Yeah, told
Like-
us at the end, like in the last 10 minutes of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the thing is like, the 2 characters that we're left with the longest are probably the characters we know the least about. Well, you don't really know much about any of them, really, I guess. I wish she had died earlier.
I wish
I
they would
don't
have
like that
given
she's one of the
her
last 2.
given her something else to do.
Yeah,
She just
or at
need a
least
little
given
bit
her
more to do.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Tony Logan Marshall Green, aka Indy Tom Hardy,
Yeah.
who his characteristic is that he is a repairman who apparently brings his tools to job interviews, but doesn't want to bring his tools to job interviews, and
Yeah.
also has evaded the police after a hit and run that he was involved with that comes
Yeah.
around
which is something you also don't know about until
Completely to the
literally
beginning.
the last part of the movie.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Let's go. We'll get through these characters. Oh,
yeah,
old
yeah.
woman, who's just credited as old woman. We'll figure out
Yes,
why by the end of it. Jenny
played by
O'Hara.
Jenny O'Hara, she's wonderful. I love when she pops up into stuff. She's kind of one of like those actresses that I'm like, I have to look up her name every time I see her, but I'm like, oh, I've seen her in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Then you get the guard, who is the like one security guard apparently in this high rise building. Bokeem Woodbine.
Yeah.
He's been in like a ton of stuff. Like he is again
Yes.
one of those. This movie has a ton of though like character actors that you've seen in so many different movies.
Yeah, he's one of the Vulture's henchmen in like Spider-Man: Homecoming. And I mean he's in the Halo TV series too. Like looking at his filmography, he's done so much. He's an Overlord. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like yeah, this is a who's who of like character actors.
Yeah.
Every face you see, you're like, I know that person.
The biggest one for me remembering in this movie is Vince, who is played by Jeffrey Arend, who was in Super Troopers. He's the Snosberries taste like Snosberries guy in Super Troopers. He's also in The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville, and he's the
Yep.
when the fuck did we get ice cream guy in that movie.
Yeah.
So he has a very recognizable face.
Yes. Absolutely.
And he plays like a complete sleazeball scumbag.
He's like a mattress salesman, but he's clearly like he is like the stereotypical, oh, you're in sales because you're a scumbag
Yeah.
who can talk people out of their money.
He's probably a used mattress salesman too. I don't think he's a
Oh.
new mattress salesman.
Yeah.
He's a used mattress salesman. Even worse than
Yeah.
a used car salesman. He's a used
Yeah.
mattress salesman.
It's definitely the vibe he gives. He also voiced the daycare teacher in the Angry Birds movie. Love
Why
those
is there
movies.
what? Why is there a daycare? What?
Have you never seen the Angry
I've never
Birds movie?
seen. No, I've never seen the Angry Birds movies.
Well, you need to watch that one so that you can watch the sequel, which is even better.
Not gonna happen.
Angry Birds 2.
And lucky
Phenomenal.
for me, neither are horror films, so we're never gonna talk about them on the podcast. Besides, right now, apparently.
No, we're gonna triple feature them with Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Which is a prequel to Angry Birds.
Yes.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts about this beginning, like setting up the plot, is that these characters all get stuck on this elevator. And again, there's like one repair person in this entire goddamn building
Yeah.
who goes all the way up to the roof,
Finds out he can't fix it from there.
can't fix it there. He's like, okay, there's a main switcher down in the basement. Goes all the way down to the basement.
Keep in mind, the elevator is stuck, so he is definitely taking stairs.
Yeah, he's taking the stairs, and this is like a 40, 50-story building. Like, it's huge.
So tall.
Goes down to the basement, resets it, still doesn't work. And so he basically tells security, well, I guess I gotta go back to upstairs and just climb down and reset it manually.
Yeah,
on the on the actual elevator cart.
Yeah, he has to grapple hook down, which I'm like, there's no way that you can reset from the elevator car. Like, I feel like that's not an actual thing, right?
It might. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
So guess what this guy does? He goes all the way back. This is within maybe like, I don't know, I would guess time frame wise, maybe a 2-hour time frame. He goes from the top of the building to the basement, all the way back up. It's hilarious.
Meanwhile, you've got the security guards who, Ramirez, played by Jacob Vargas, and then Matt Craven as Lustig is Timu Sean Penn. But he's very good in this movie. I like him a lot in this movie. And he is also one of those people that like I see pop up in a lot of things.
It's Timu Sean Penn and Timu Michael Pena.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Ramirez, like right away, this guy.
He's like, it's the devil.
It's the devil. My grandma used to tell me stories about the devil who would hide in plain sight and get you when you least expect it and go after the worst people, apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the camera starts glitching out inside the elevator, and he sees like a face. Doesn't even look like like the devil. Just it's a face.
Doesn't even look like a face.
there's characteristics of a face, but what's that called? Like when you can see like a face and everything. They talk about it in this movie where like the guy's like, yeah, if you see Jesus in a pancake or whatever,
or something,
toast.
Yeah.
Speaking of toast, one of my favorite lines of this movie, though.
Oh God, is it the toast thing?
It's for when Ramirez is trying to convince the police who have shown up to the building. He's trying to convince to the police that it's the devil behind this. And one of the ways that you know that the devil is around is if a piece of toast lands jelly side down. Because if it lands jelly side down, the devil is around.
Yeah, so he takes this piece of jelly toast, which he just has. Like, okay. It just guy has a random piece of jelly toast behind his desk, and he throws it up into the air, and it lands jelly side down.
Proven right. You can't prove him wrong, right?
It's so stupid, but it's so funny. Like
also, that doesn't make any sense. Like, wouldn't the jelly side be heavier and therefore
I was about to say I don't
be
know
more likely to land jelly side down?
I've never had toast with like a condiment on one side fall and not fall on the condiment side.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's jelly, whether it's avocado, whether it's peanut butter, like
Sam, what does that say about us?
Means the devil is always within me.
He's always with us. Right.
I mean,
right
I am
here.
Sam the Damned, so
yeah.
Yeah. What do we think of Chris Messina is like I feel like he's largely known as like a supporting character. Like I don't feel like he is the lead in a lot of stuff. And I know this is kind of an ensemble movie. But like I think he carries this movie really well. I've always appreciated him. I think he's fantastic as Victor Zsasz in like the Birds of Prey movie. I think he's one of the best parts of that. But like I like his character in this.
I think this is a fun look at what you can do on a low budget with just a bunch of character actors, because there's no like lead movie star in this like there is in literally every other M. Night Shyamalan movie, where you could see like I think it's closely related to Signs in many ways. This movie is. This is the Mel Gibson character, the cop who loses their spouse in a car accident. Literally the Mel Gibson character. Yeah,
he even says something like 6 months ago he tried to drink himself to death in a hotel room. It's very Martin Riggs. He's clearly like on a path to a better place when we meet him, like, but he has also he's hit his rock bottom before this movie even starts, and he's working his way back from it. And I like that angle. We don't need to see him like. Honestly, I didn't need to see him like half naked in his trailer on the beach drinking a 40 before he goes in to like check on this call. Like that's been done before to death. Like Lethal Weapon did it, and then every cop movie after that, including Die Hard 3, does it. Like,
we don't need that. We just need that line that he said, when he tells Ramirez the story about, his wife and his son and what happened to them.
Yep.
And then you can just tell in the performance too, where he is a, nose to the ground, let's figure this out type of cop.
And I feel like he's actually like, you made the comment like, this is the cop that Prom Night needed.
Yeah.
And it's so true, like the juxtaposition, like in Prom Night, Idris Elba does everything a cop should not or would not do. In this one, like, Detective Bowden is a good cop, and he is doing everything that he can to ensure the safety. It doesn't work out. Like, all of the passengers, except for one, die. But, well, except for two die. But, like, everything that he does is, like, the logical step to take in order to assure the safety of people. It's just that the devil doesn't comply.
Yeah, the devil doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
He doesn't play by the books in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, he shuts the building down right away. We get our first death, which is Vince, who Again, like lights go out. This is probably like the most like quick cut scene in the elevator. Where the lights go out, like the mirror shatters that's in there. He ends up getting stabbed in the neck with
Yep.
a piece of the shattered mirror. He dies.
And it comes shortly after the rest of the people accuse him of like biting the
Biting
what's her
Sarah,
face?
yeah.
Sarah, yeah. Because she's got like, I don't think it even looks like a bite on her back. Like
Like
it
a
looks like,
scratch mark or
yeah, it
something
looks
like
like
that.
claw
Yeah.
marks kind of. So yeah, he dies first with the shard in the neck. Who's next? Is it the old lady getting hung?
Then the old lady gets hung, and then they
Yeah.
shut the building down. They're like, "This is a homicide investigation." He
Yep.
shuts the building. The cop shuts the building down. No one leaves. Idris Elba could have learned that in prom night
Right.
for sure.
Can you imagine this movie if Chris Messina was just like, pull the fire alarm and
Yeah,
then
get
watch for
everybody out of
anybody
here.
suspicious?
And during all this, right before the deaths of Vince and the old lady, Sarah begins to have visions of all of them dead, everyone dead in the elevator, which is very
Yeah.
strange. I don't know. They don't really touch on it
Well, it's
too
even like
much.
the security camera that the security guards and the detectives are watching them from will glitch out every once in a while and show them an image of like everybody dead.
Everybody dead, yeah, or the
Yeah.
devil again, yeah.
Like, and I don't know if it needs to explain all of that because it's just like, oh, it's devil powers, but it is kind of weird. Like, what are the parameters for devil powers? What is the devil controlling?
He
Who?
controls all,
Yeah.
as we
Or
know by the end of
she.
this. Yeah.
She's
So
a she devil.
she devil, literally by the end of this. So the old lady is hung in the elevator. And then when we're down to 3 characters, we get one of the funniest lines of this movie. Is Sarah yelling, "Kill him, Ben," to the security guard
Oh,
to strangle Logan Marshall Green's character.
yeah.
It's out of nowhere.
It's just all of a sudden she's just like, he needs to die.
Yeah, that guy needs to die.
And
Apparently.
it's so weird. Like, there's nothing that he has done to like, if anything, the most suspicious one.
Well, we find out he's a vet of the
Yeah, he's a
Afghan,
Marine.
war. And so he's been trained to kill people. And
But then
so
we-
I guess
we
that's her
find out-
suspicion that he needs to die. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like all of these people like through the investigation you find out that they all
They're all
have
bad people.
a checkered past to say the least.
Yeah, Vince
The-
is a
the-
scumbag,
Yep.
a bad salesman, has tax evasion?
Fraud, I think.
Fraud,
it
tax
was like a
fraud.
Ponzi scheme type
Yeah.
of thing, and yeah.
Sarah, you find out has been marrying men and taking their money.
Yep.
You find out that the security guard that's stuck in the elevator,
Has like a domestic abuse past and all
has
that.
done
like-
time. This is only a temp job for him. The old lady is a pickpocket, steals
Yeah.
people's
Which
wallets.
is the funniest reveal. I love that one.
So
We're
petty.
just watching her. She's just like she's walking up behind people and taking wallets out of purses.
And then when she dies, you see her purse fall and 7 different little, wallets
Like,
and purses
wallet
fall out of
things
it.
Fall out. Yeah. Oh, so good.
And then you find out Logan Marshall Green's character he was the drunk driver that
Mhm.
killed the cops' family in the beginning.
Yeah. And he has. So all of this stuff that comes at the very end, like the woman is revealed to be the devil. Like all of a sudden, she just Logan Marshall Green's the only one left because Sarah gets stabbed kind of unceremoniously. Like she gets the
Security
the
guard
least-
gets his head spun all the way around,
Yeah,
neck
like-
snapped.
Ooh, yeah, gnarly effect. And then all of a sudden the old woman rises up and her eyes are just completely black and she's just like, I'm the devil.
I'm the devil.
And and she screams and the elevator falls and then the security brakes stop it. And the guy the maintenance guy that has been dead on the roof of this elevator falls through the ceiling and his walkie-talkie comes out. And then Logan Marshall Green has his moment where he confesses. all of the stuff that happens at the end is on paper really good. I feel like the end rushes a lot of this though, and you're not able to sit with it as much. Like, I think it's amazing the idea that Chris Messina is like learning to forgive him, but I'm like, that the confession should have come earlier in the script. Or at least he should have been able to put two and two together earlier in the script, so we saw him grapple with it more. Because I love the idea of him like having this like hatred for this person that is built over these years, but we don't get to see him grapple with that and eventually like forgive him.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
should
like,
have been that the cop knows who killed his family
yes,
and now is in the same place as that guy, and basically maybe he says to like Ramirez or something, as soon as that guy gets off the elevator, I'm shooting him and then me, or something like that.
yep,
You know,
yeah,
because he knows.
like
And then
something
yeah, yeah,
through,
I agree
through
with
the
that.
course of the movie you like grapple with it and you like you move on and you forgive. Like, because I do like that aspect. I just think that it comes in at the very end and is just, it's just there, and it doesn't have the effect.
The third act as a whole is very rushed.
Yeah, yeah,
Because by the time we even get out of the elevator, the movie, like, by the time everybody gets out of the elevator, there's maybe like 3 minutes of the movie left.
yeah. Like, there's no time for any kind of falling action or any kind of resolution. It's just all kind of wrapped up really quickly. Um, which is a shame because I feel like all of the pieces that kind of come together and all the different like intricacies between these people are really interesting. But I feel like because the movie just pedal to the metal for the last, I'd say like 10 minutes or so,
Yeah.
it doesn't all land with as much gravitas as it wants it to.
And then
This
even
is one of the rare 80-minute movies that could have been 90.
yeah, it should have added maybe 5-10 more minutes
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
give us a little bit more time with these characters in the elevator.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But the end of the movie, the final shot, we get the cop basically forgives Logan Marshall Green as he's driving him back to the police station after all of this, and then you get a voiceover again from Ramirez, kind of just over the city.
Yeah.
And then it ends.
Yeah.
This movie needed one. We talked about this as we were finishing the movie. It needed one little stinger to end the movie on, just to be like, you know, the movie ends with,
out there
you know,
or something.
The movie ends with the message God is out there. That's
Yeah.
fine. But if God is out there, the devil's still out there. And that's where you end with like we talked about like the old lady getting on another elevator or getting on a bus or walking down the street. You show an image of the old lady with another group of people, and then you cut to black. That's how you have to end this movie. It didn't. It just ends with God is out there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really leave an impact like a stinger like that would have.
Yeah. And it doesn't even need to be the old lady necessarily. It could literally be any group of people.
It's funnier if it's the old lady.
It's funnier if it's the old lady. But like, you could have any group of people and all of a sudden someone's eyes just go black. And like cut to black.
Yeah.
The third act is where this movie kind of loses me. Like, I think the setup of this movie is so goddamn good. And then the third act kind of waffles a little bit.
It's just
And
really fast. It's like it's in
Yeah.
like you push fast forward on the movie.
Yeah, yeah. And it shouldn't. It should sit with it a little bit longer, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Devil.
That's
Devil.
Devil.
My last little piece of trivia that we have for this movie. It was intended to be part of a trilogy from M. Night Shyamalan called The Night Chronicles around this time. But then I didn't see much about why like that never actually came to fruition. I assume it's because
The
Last
Last
Airbender and After Earth happened.
We don't need to speculate too hard.
We don't need to
I don't
speculate
think.
too hard, but that's definitely why those did not happen. But one of them sort of did happen.
Yeah.
One of the ideas for that was the original concept for Split, starring James McAvoy. And that's like, that character came from the Night Chronicles and somehow got it turned back into the Unbreakable universe. So in a way, we have Devil to thank for Split.
for the whatever it's called, the East Rail
Yeah, the East Rail
133. Yeah, the
trilogy.
East Rail trilogy.
So,
Yeah.
thanks, Devil.
Thanks, Devil.
Thanks, Devil, for Glass.
Hey, Glass is fine.
It's fine. I like the idea of Glass more than I like the movie Glass.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I don't know.
It's
You
not
know
his worst
me,
movie, that's for sure.
I appreciate a movie that takes a big swing.
Speaking of movies that take a big swing, Devil. Sam, what's your score? What floor are you heading to on this elevator for Devil?
I'm pretty sure I put three. I logged it as three on the letterbox. I'd bump it up to 3.5. There's a lot here that I really like. I think when I rated it three, it was kind of like I was bummed about the ending a little bit, but like remembering all the stuff that happened in the first two acts, I'm like, God, like there's a lot of really cool stuff here. I love Chris Messina. Um, I just love this cast in general. And they're not given like hugely meaty, fully fleshed out characters to work with or anything. But what they are given, they elevate, and I
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, the stylish direction, the fucking score, the cast. I'd give this a solid 3.5 out of 5 stolen pocketbooks. How about you?
I'm giving this a 4. I've
Nice.
made it no secret that I am a huge M. Night Shyamalan fan. He is top 5 filmmaker of all time for me in my personal top 5. I love his work, and this has his DNA just absolutely all over this entire movie. I love the cast. Like you said, everybody elevates what little they're given, but I do think enough characters are given enough to work with, especially our cop character with his backstory and how that connects to Logan Marshall Green's character. I think those two are kind of the anchor points of this movie that they should have focused more on those two. We needed that. Remember that scene in Signs where Mel Gibson talks to M. Night in the movie?
Yeah.
We needed that scene, and we don't get that scene. So I don't know. I think in a way that Signs and Devil are almost cousins in that they deal with
The
very
kindred
similar
spirits.
thematic elements, and characters are very similar through both of those movies. So I mean, if you're a fan of Signs and you've never seen Devil, I think that's a perfect follow up to watch. But yeah, I had a blast with this movie. It's so much fun. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 for me for sure.
It's time for Fangoria ad read. Fangoria for over 40 years has been the leading source in horror for all things spooky, horrific, and macabre. The famed magazine is back with a vengeance each quarter with a brand new issue of Fangoria magazine featuring interviews, retrospectives, and insight into the world of horror. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners to save 20% off their subscription to the magazine, the latest Fango merch, and so much more. You can visit shop.fangoria.com/screams from the basement and use promo code screams from the basement at checkout. Link is down in the description. Or will we have a QR code on the video?
We sure will.
We'll have a QR code on the video. It's not up right now, so I wanted to make sure.
Don't ruin the illusion. I put it in there afterwards.
Yeah. So use promo code Screams from the Basement at checkout at shop.fangoria.com/Screams from the Basement to save 20% off of your order. And thanks to Fangoria for supporting the show.
Thanks for Fangoria for taking the elevator ride with us on this episode.
Yeah.
Sam, this was a ton of fun. These two movies pair very well together.
Yeah. I am full disclosure, everybody. There was a point where we learned towards the end of the lift that there was an American remake that was streaming on Shudder along with the lift, and we almost changed this episode to be the lift and Down double feature. I hope we cover Down later on this podcast somewhere down the road because I'm excited to watch it. But yeah, I'm glad that we did Devil because that was
I think
a fun
maybe
movie
we
too.
need to do a Naomi Watts early 2000s remake episode.
Ooh, I like that. Which Naomi Watts remake are you thinking?
Will of the Ring.
Oh, I was thinking King Kong. Naomi Watts remake triple feature.
Triple feature. One of them 3 goddamn hours long. I do like
Yeah.
King Kong.
Oh, I love King Kong. It's fantastic. All right, Casey. What have you been doing lately other than these two banger movies?
These 2 banger movies. I got a couple movies that I have watched that I'll throw out here. The first one I'm going to start off with, just because I'm not going to have a whole lot to say about it. I watched Unhinged, the Russell Crowe revenge action thriller. It's exactly what I thought this movie was going to be.
I want to watch this.
It's insane. It's unhinged. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you saw the trailer and you're like, okay, I know what this movie's going to be. It's that movie. It's a ton of fun. Russell Crowe is hamming it up. It's just an angry driver going after this mom and her kid. It's fun.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Joyride.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I've ever since like the Unhinged trailer hit, I'm like, I gotta watch that, and for whatever reason, I still haven't. But
Joyride. We should cover Joyride.
we should
have
do a
not
Joyride
seen that
Unhinged double feature.
Maybe down the road.
Joyride, still like I actually threw that on about 6 months ago. Like I was like, I remember loving this as a kid. It used to terrify me. I had such a visceral reaction just to the opening of that movie that I turned it off, and I have not. Like I don't know, that movie gets under my skin. It's really good.
I love Steve Zahn. He's one of my favorites. So
he's fantastic. Yeah,
we got to cover that sometime.
Yeah.
Next movie I'll talk about here, watched for the first time, Patty Jenkins' film Monster from 2003.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen this.
I have not. I have seen like clips and stuff from it because the Charlize performance is kind of iconic.
Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah, Oscar-winning. Yeah.
Yeah, Charlize Theron plays actual real life serial killer based on a true story. I don't know what like cool name she had, but she was basically a prostitute who killed the men that would pay or not pay for her services during the time. Christina Ricci plays her girlfriend in this movie. My biggest note is that Christina Ricci should have been nominated for an Oscar for this movie as well. She is incredible in it.
I have very much heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, she is incredible in this movie. This movie, yeah, it is kind of crazy that Patty Jenkins would not do a whole lot after this.
Yeah, she kind of fell off the map for a while and then came back with Wonder Woman.
Which is
and then like
insane.
Wonder Woman 84 was not the hit that I think they hoped it was, and I feel like she's kind of been in.
She has these 2 incredible female performances in Monster.
Yeah.
And then Gal Gadot is in Wonder Woman.
Well,
she's not a good actress.
What bums me out is like Jeff Wadlow's still getting movies though, and like Patty Jenkins like had a whole Rogue Squadron movie that I was so excited for. Like she was gonna do a Star Wars movie about fucking fighter pilots, and but they just took it away, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. At least Jeff Wadlow hasn't made a Star Wars movie. God.
Yeah. Jesus.
But yeah, Monster. I don't need to tell people. Highly recommend. It's an incredible film. Loved it.
Rad.
Watched Hard Eyes, which just came out earlier this year, directed by Josh Rubin, written by Michael Kennedy, Christopher Landon. I know, Sam, you talked about this on the show as well. I think we're about in the same camp on this movie. Yeah. I gave it 3 stars. I think it's an okay rom-com slasher.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't think it leans enough into, again, maybe either of those to fully work as an entire movie. Our 2 leads, Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt, I don't know if they have a whole lot of chemistry, really. I think they're both young, attractive, playing that teenage, actors archetype. I don't know. It's okay. It's an okay movie. I was expecting maybe a little bit more because I do love Rubin's previous work, and I do like both of those actors. But yeah, I don't know. And the the actual slasher part of it doesn't There's not really too many memorable kills besides the one you see in the trailer from the car in the car.
Yeah.
Like, where you get that cool shot through the hole in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
I don't
like
know. I thought it was okay.
I like the final killer death. I really like that where the head gets like completely bisected.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that Holt and Gooding have chemistry. I think the script is just too broad in the rom com area. Like it's just playing all of the rom com stuff so broadly that like
I'm
it's
okay
just
with
not
that.
there's nothing there. I don't know. Like it's weird. It's really weird. I wanted to love that movie and I only ended up liking it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Next movie also came out this year, The Ugly Stepsister, which
I wanna see
is,
this
of
so
course,
fucking
based
bad.
on the Cinderella fairy tale, but told this time from one of the ugly stepsisters' point of view. Her name is one thing in this. Her name is Elvira, which is incredible. She's one of the ugly stepsisters who we follow her the entire movie. And she's not like your traditional ugly stepsister. She is, a normal looking woman at the beginning of this movie, but has to go through these body transformations put on by her ugly mother, the ugly stepmother.
Yeah.
And so like she has her nose done during these times. She swallows a tapeworm, to start losing weight. There's an insane tapeworm gag at the end of this movie that is fucking bonkers. It plays into the Cinderella mythology too, because Cinderella is a character, and they explain what Cinderella means. Like the actual, like her name is not Cinderella, but that character is in it, and they call her Cinderella because of what that term actually means. And
Okay.
they hint at the magic side of the Cinderella story. You see like a mouse scurrying away. You see like a little pumpkin sitting outside a carriage at the house, after the ball. So all the Cinderella stuff. Like this is how you do those, like the Winnie the Pooh slasher, the Pinocchio one, the Peter Pan one, where they just do a slasher movie and it happens to have these characters in it. This is how you use IP like that, public domain stuff, to tell an actual legitimate character-based story. And that's what The Ugly Stepsister is. If people love, it's getting a lot of comparisons to The Substance. I do think it is pretty similar tonality and style wise to The Substance. Obviously was made before that movie came out, so you can't I can't give too much comparison like as a knockoff or something like that. But I think the comparisons are apt on how they deal with body like body dysphoria, trying to fit into society, how women have certain expectations of what their bodies should look like, deals with all those things, but told through the world of Cinderella. Incredible movie. Probably will make my top 10 by the end of the year. It's awesome stuff. Body horror fans, you're going to love this movie too. It's awesome.
Pumped to watch this. I'm pumped to watch it. Yeah.
And I think the last two are our Cronenberg double feature that we did
Yeah.
at the State Theater. So
Let's get into
we
it.
let's get into it. The first one up was The Shrouds, which is David Cronenberg's latest film. I believe it is out on streaming right now. Is it
Uh,
an Apple movie? I don't know. It's not an Apple movie,
I don't
but it's on VOD.
It's on VOD for sure.
I don't know if it's
Um,
just on like paid VOD or not. I don't know. But this it's an interesting one that I would love down the road to get into further.
yeah.
Because it's a movie that I think thematically and emotionally works very, very well. I was very connected emotionally to it, thematically to it, about legacy and death and dealing with death and loss of a significant other. But the story, like, there's like no story. I don't know. The like connecting story is very strange and kind of broad. The
Yeah.
characters are also very broad. Our main lead is basically a stand-in for Cronenberg, but he kind of comes off as like a old tech bro who drives a
Yeah.
Tesla and owns this tech company. It's a very, very strange movie that only David Cronenberg can make at this point in his life, and I respect the hell out of that. It does
Mhm.
feel like he's very emotionally connected to the story, and like he's did this outside of the studio system. But to make maybe a traditionally better movie, it would be inside of the studio system with someone giving him notes. But that's just not Cronenberg, and I wouldn't want to see that movie. I love it, flaws and all, for what this movie gave.
Yeah, I this one had to sit with me for a little while because honestly, when the credits rolled, I don't feel like there's a lot of catharsis in the end of this. I don't feel like there's really even a payoff
No,
for this movie. It's weirdly almost like slice of life. And there's a lot of like international espionage like subplot in it. I think Guy Pearce is fucking hilarious in this movie. I love Guy Pearce in this movie.
I thought he was really bad in this movie.
I mean, I don't
But
know. He's making some
I'm not the
choices.
biggest Guy
So
Pearce fan.
and
But
I fucking love the guy. I think he's fantastic in Iron Man 3. I will go to bat for his performance in that movie any day of the week. But yeah, so The Shrouds is it's messy. It's a really messy movie. It's very clear that Cronenberg is horny and working through some stuff. There's a lot of sex in this movie. There's still like quite a bit of body horror. The way he melds like tech and death and sex all into like kind of one gumbo pot of just like I don't know, it's stilted, it's a little awkward at times. The editing is a little weird, but like I haven't really stopped thinking about it since we watched it. And so I ended up rating it 3 stars. But it's like a 3-star movie that I'm like I would recommend the shit out of this
yes,
because it's definitely Cronenberg with no guardrails. Like he is all over the place, but it's a fascinating mess of a movie, and I like you said, I respect the hell out of that. I think it's pretty fantastic that it got made, um, and like if you're not gonna go to therapy, make a fucked up movie about
make
it.
a movie. Yeah.
So yeah, the Shrouds was interesting. I do not think it's on VOD yet. Actually, I checked Just Watch and I didn't
Oh, it's
see
not?
anything.
Okay.
So it must still just be in theaters. But when this hits VOD, I'd recommend giving it a rent because
Yeah.
you're not gonna see anything else like it this year. I can guarantee that. So
Well, we followed that up at the State Theater. We hosted Late Night at the State once again with David Cronenberg's Videodrome. First time watch for you,
yeah, it
Sam.
was. It was. I hate James Woods. I just want to get that out of the way. I fucking hate
As a
him.
person.
As a person, honestly, like I don't know, I hate his fucking face. I don't like. I did not enjoy watching his face, especially when he's like, I didn't want to see James Woods fuck. But the movie is poignant. And the messaging still hits today. And even though all of the technology in that movie is very dated now, it still feels very
You swap out cable television or
for
satellite
streaming.
television for streaming or
Yeah.
YouTube or
Yeah.
TikTok. And it's the same movie. It's
Yeah,
insane how
100%.
much this movie still holds up today. I
Yeah.
also I don't care for James Woods as a person.
I mean, who does at this point?
Who does? I love James Woods as an actor. I think he is an incredible actor.
I think he was for a while. Have you seen him in stuff recently? Like,
I guess I haven't. I didn't know he was in stuff recently, besides probably some like Street the Video crap or something.
yeah.
But I love him. Like, he's incredible in this movie. I think he has that. He has that like Chevy Chase like sleazeball charm. Like, there's some like I can't describe it. You know what I mean? It's like I wouldn't want to hang out with this guy, but if this guy started a conversation with me, I couldn't leave. I wouldn't be able to leave.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to leave. You know what I
would
mean?
Be able to leave. I don't like people like that.
It's strange. I don't know. I don't either. But there's like a charisma to him, though. I don't know. It's a very strange thing that he has. But yeah, Videodrome. We don't need to say more about this because everybody knows how incredible
phenomenal.
it is. It's phenomenal. One of the great body horror movies of all time, incredible movie. So much fun to host that. We did full costumes for
Yeah.
for that, where we had VHS tapes inside of
Sticking out
our
of us.
side of our body sticking out. So
Yeah.
yeah, ton of fun. Late Night at the State returns Friday the 13th in just
Yeah.
just a
A
couple
week?
weeks. Well, a week if you're
Yeah.
listening to this on Friday.
Part 7, bitch.
The
Yeah.
New Blood. Sam, speaking of some new blood, I know you got some new blood in your doobie doing. What have you been doobie doing?
Yeah. I watched the new release Hell of a Summer, which Billy Burke and Finn Wolfhard wrote and directed and star in. It's a summer camp slasher set in modern day. It's about a 24-year-old who is still a camp counselor at the same camp that he literally was going to camp at since he was, in middle school. And even his mom is like, "You're 24 and you're still going to summer camp. What the fuck?" And all the other younger counselors are kind of like, "You're fucking weird, man." And that's the best part of the movie. Like, the lead character, the lead actor, Fred Heschenberg, I think, is what his name is. Fred Hochberg, who was in like Thelma recently. He's the main character. He's giving a really heartfelt performance. It's kind of a coming of age story for him where he's like learning that like, yeah, maybe it is time to move on from this like camp that I've been attached to for basically my entire life. It's got an opening cameo from Adam Pally, who is a comedic actor that I just really love. And a lot of the comedy in this movie really worked for me. Like, the characters are funny. They're all like kind of Gen Z stereotypes. And there's a lot of humor to be mined from their interactions, and when people start dying, the ways that they react to like people dying around them is like all vary and is really funny. But as a horror movie, this is really not good. So many of the kills are off screen. There's not a lot of bloodshed. There's not a lot of tension. There's no like, and the killer reveal happens way too early in the movie. And the reveal itself has been done too many times post Scream 4. The motive and everything. It's not very compelling, and it kind of falls apart as a horror movie. I still would slightly recommend this just because of the coming of age stuff. I think that part of it is really fun. And I think honestly, like Finn Wolfhard and Billy Burke they're like the two kind of like, they're like nerdy dude bros, but they're like, they want to be like the badass getting laid male counselors. And one of them's actually really good at it, and one of them is very much not. And it's not the way you would expect it to play out. Like, that stuff is all really funny. I wish I liked this more. Like I said, I'd still recommend it, but like if you're looking for an actual like slasher, pick something different. I also watched I did some summer after this. I wanted to do some summer camp stuff. So Maria and I watched Friday the 13th Part 2, which is one of my favorites in that franchise. I really love that. I showed her Sleepaway Camp for the first time. She did not like it. It is a lot.
Well, that won't do, will it?
It is a lot meaner than I remember it being.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I for whatever reason, I was like, oh, it's so funny. And then I was watching it. It is funny. But I'm like, totally forgot that, like, the cook who gets boiled alive was, like, a child molester? Like, what the fuck? Like, there was a lot in that movie that, like, I hadn't watched it in quite a few years.
James Earl Jones' dad is such an enabler as the other cook?
Yeah. Oh, my God. So yeah, but I have a soft spot for Sleepaway Camp.
I love that movie. Yeah.
It's so fun.
Eat shit
watched...
and die, Ricky. Eat shit and live.
I watched Fear Street Prom Queen that just dropped on Netflix with very little fanfare. I really love...
I mean, it's a Netflix movie. Netflix doesn't do fanfare.
Well, I mean, but the thing is like the Fear Street trilogy that came out back in 2021, that was an event. They made that an event. It was a big deal. Like people were talking
Horror
about it.
fans made that an event.
Well, yeah, fair.
They had
But
the cool
like
strategy of like releasing one a week, but
one a week.
yeah.
And those movies were, I mean, people can have their like qualms with them, but they were pretty fucking good. And they were teen slashers that were ultra gory. It had a queer love story at the center of it. Like I was very into those movies. I was excited for Fear Street Prom Queen. Even after seeing a bunch of reviews that were not very nice to it, I am sad to say that those reviews are all correct. This is not a good movie. It's very uninspired, and maybe the worst part of it is they kind of queerbait. Like they set up two characters, and you kind of think, oh, this is gonna be about them learning that they're not just friends. They're like a little more than that, and it kind of teases that, and then does nothing with it. Pissed me the fuck off. How do you, the week before fucking Pride Week, put a new entry into a queer-friendly, like, not just queer-friendly, a queer-centered franchise, and then ixnay, it felt like a studio note. It felt like the Disney thing where they're like, take out the gay kiss. That's what it felt like. And the rest of it's so uninspired. There's like one kill that's really good, and the rest of them suck.
There's
and
no
I
bread
just,
slicer kill
there's
in this
no
one.
bread slicer kill. There is a paper cutter kill that's pretty decent, but it ends on a really unsatisfying note. Like, there is not a whole lot that I can say about this movie that's good. Skip it. It's not worth your time. Watch the original Fear Street trilogy. They should have brought Lee Janiak back. God damn it. Anyways, I wrote like a whole review on it on Patreon if you're so inclined to listen to my less sweary rant about it. But like honestly, kind of fuck this movie. Didn't like it. Movie I did like. I watched Phone Booth for the first time. Have you ever seen Phone Booth?
I've never seen Phone Booth. It's been on
Phone
my
Booth?
watch list, yeah.
Phone Booth fucks. It's really good. Like it is a tight, nifty little thriller. Great lead performance by Colin Farrell. Kiefer Sutherland is the voice of the villain on the other end of this payphone. He's very good at it with using mostly just his voice. This movie escalates so much quicker than I expected it to. And I don't know. I really liked it. It was one of my blind spots, and Maria loves this movie, and she grew up watching it, and she was like, "Yeah, we should watch this sometime." I'm like, "Let's watch it tonight." Holy shit, it was fun. I love Phone Booth. We should double feature with like Red Eye or something sometime. Because both of those movies would pair really well together as like tight, contained thrillers. Yeah, yeah. Highly recommend Phone Booth. Before my last thing, this is not a horror movie, but I watched kung fu action flick Iron Monkey from 1993. It stars Donnie Yen and a whole bunch of other actors that I'm not sure how to pronounce names / know them particularly well. They've been having a lot of martial arts sales on Vudu lately, and so I've been blind buying some like packs that are dirt cheap just to fill in some blind spots. And I threw on the Iron Monkey the other night. This movie is all style, very little substance, but goddamn, it's so much fun. Like the kung fu sequences in it are fantastic. And it's a Robin Hood story, but it's told in like old timey China. So they've got like the weird traditional haircuts where like the front halves of their heads are shaved, and then they've got like ponytails in the back. Like the martial arts sequences are incredible. It's really funny. Like it's a wild movie. Definitely recommend Iron Monkey. And I might be recommending more kung fu movies in the near future because I just bought a whole bunch of them. Voodoo's deals of the day are getting me. So, and then this weekend, can we talk about our upcoming guests that we're gonna be interviewing?
Next week.
Yeah, next week on Friday the 13th, we're dropping an interview with director of Jason Goes to Hell, Adam Marcus. We're both very excited about it. So this Saturday, I watched Jason Goes to Hell, and like Maria and I watched it, and that movie is so much better than everybody says it is. I love Jason Goes to Hell. It's weird, and it takes a wild swing, but like honestly, what do you want from like a ninth installment in a horror franchise? Like, take a swing.
Yeah.
I like that. Um, Afterwards, we had so much fun watching Jason Goes to Hell. We watched Jason X, another big swing, another fun movie. And we like Jason X so much that we just decided to go for the whole New Line trilogy, and we watched Freddy vs. Jason, and we just had a New Line Jason night. It was so much fun. I love all three of these movies for different reasons, and all of them underrated entries in that slasher franchise. So that is what I've been doing.
Well, you know what we've do be done? A podcast. That is it. That is it for Elevator Horror here on Screens from the Basement. Thank you all for watching or listening to the podcast. We couldn't do this without you. But let us know if you have seen either of the films in our double feature or any of the films in our do be doing. Also, let us know if you have any double features that you guys think we should do on the pod.
Yeah.
But Sam, where can people find us online?
You can find us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, and TikTok. We're doing some video content there. Just search Screens from the Basement on any of those social networking platforms.
We're on our road to 1,000 on Instagram. We are very, very close. Let's get us there.
Give us a follow on Instagram. Let's get us there
ASAP. So follow us if you're not following us there.
And you can also, on top of following us on social media, to make sure you never miss an episode, you can subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star review or rating. Leave us a comment. Like, let us know what you think of the movies we're talking about. Tell me what kind of bowling alley serves wine. If you have pictures, send it. I want proof that there are bowling alleys that serve wine. Yeah. Casey?
Well, if you want some exclusive Screens from the Basement merch, like what I'm rocking on the video here, not what you're rocking. We're not selling that. We're not selling that. But check out our TeePublic store. Tons of brand new designs up on the store right now. And some classic Screens from the Basement designs up there as well. Link in the episode description for that. Also, check us out on Patreon. $1 a month gets you joined into our Patreon. You get our exclusive newsletter and exclusive art print signed by both of us and created by Sam. For $5 a month, you get bonus episodes every month, including our latest one that is out on Patreon right now, where we fan cast 10 girly pop stars into horror films. That was so much fun. We'll have another one here for June, so if you have ideas for that, please let us know. We'll leave that up to our patrons to help us decide that one for the month of June. But yeah, you get exclusive vlogs up there from our collections. You get Sam's written reviews up there as well at that $5 tier. Again, link in the episode description to our Patreon. All right. Well, that is it. Sam, do you have any other final thoughts before we descend down the elevator?
Just remember, take the stairs. For the love of God, take the stairs. And thanks for tuning in. And sweet screams.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.